I'm Serena Williams, and I'm healthier on Row. I've lost 34 pounds in a year with GLP-1s, diet, and exercise. On Row, you can access GLP-1 options, including the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. Go to row.co/Williams to see if you qualify. 14 to 20% average weight loss in 1 year in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight with a weight-related medical condition versus 2.2% to 3.1% in placebo arm. RX only. To stay informed about serious side effects, go to row.co/safety.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional, working, and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
Coming up on SportsCenter All Night.
A Texas duel on the hardwood. Washington open three-pointer, off back rim, and the rebound tracked down by Eason. He feeds Durant on the right block, front court right, fadeaway jumper, got it. He can get that shot anytime he wants to. A 7-0 run by the Rockets has given them a 13-8 lead. Timeout, Dallas. A Big 12 clash at Allen Fieldhouse.
Here's that zone again, Darren out top. Usually this is an alley-oop.
Peterson gets around his man, Haggs. Oh, my! A right-hand hammer! He fires it home! A poster dunk on an electric day in Allen Fieldhouse. Wow. Will there be drama at the deadline?
They don't have a star.
They don't.
Don't sell me Jonathan Kuminga as anybody's star.
No, not a bad player to put on the
Steve
team.
Kerr won't play him, so how good could he possibly be?
Plus, setting the stage in Santa Clara.
It's just day by day, and how we're going to operate. That's what we've done the last 2 weeks, and so that's what we'll keep on doing. But you put timetables on things. I mean, he's gonna plan the game. It's just how to handle. What's the best thing to do every day.
How would a giraffe wear pants?
Giraffes don't wear pants. Very careful.
If a giraffe were to wear pants, covering the back two legs or covering all?
I would say the back two.
Just hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Oh, really?
Make it real life. In real life. What are you talking about?
You probably would need traction on your front two legs. What are we doing here?
From the worldwide headquarters of ESPN, this is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Now, here's Alex Del Barrio.
SportsCenter All Night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80. While the Inside the NBA guys debate whether or not giraffes should be wearing pants, we're officially a week away from Super Bowl Sunday as we count down the days to Super Bowl 60. Plenty of news around the sports world to get to from a busy Saturday in the world of sports. Plenty of action on the college and NBA hardwood, but we start off with something off the court. Sixers forward Paul George suspended for 25 games. The NBA announced that George has been suspended for those 25 games without pay for violating the league's anti-drug policy. George sent a statement to ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania regarding the suspension, which Charania addressed on Inside the NBA.
This is a highly unusual and stunning development, Ernie, for one of the league's really great players in the past and someone of his caliber. But Paul George told me today in a statement that this occurrence happened for Paul George with this test that led to a 25-game ban due to an improper medication for a mental health-related issue, not a physical one. Paul George told me that he takes full responsibility for his actions and, quote, poor decision-making. And remember, back in 2020, during the NBA bubble, Paul George was outspoken about mental health that he faced during that time, even in the past few years. But he will now be sidelined through March 25th. He's going to be eligible for the last 10 games of the 76ers season. And in total, guys, this is going to cost Paul George almost $12 million.
Now, in George's statement, he said, quote, he had made the mistake of taking an improper medication. He says, quote, "I take full responsibility for my actions and apologize to the Sixers organization, my teammates, and the Philly fans for my poor decision-making during this process," unquote. Now, the suspension began in Saturday's game, but we'll get to some more reaction from this stunning development in the NBA. We'll go to Inside the NBA. Shaquille O'Neal, ESPN NBA analyst, his thoughts on the Paul George suspension.
You know, it's good to have everybody ready to go, the full team, when you're going into the postseason. You know, it's unfortunate that this happened. But I just want to say that, you know, they give us a booklet on what to do or what not to do. They give us a booklet. And they also give you inside the booklet how long it takes to get rid of something. So, you know, I don't want to elaborate what he was doing or what he was doing, but, you know, stuff like this should not happen because they give you the booklet that says, don't take this, and this, the letter of the law. Do not take any of these things. And when you've been in the league this long, you know what it is. You know, they test you 3 to 4 times a year. So, you know, but this is definitely going to hurt them.
As for reaction from the Sixers, let's hear from Nick Nurse, the Sixers head coach.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, disappointed for sure, you know, but answer your second part of your question is those guys that have been playing this year, you know, there's a bunch of them. And then we got to figure out who's going to replace, you know, some of the things he does and the positionally and defensively and shots and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's a number of guys there to do it, and that's where we are. And we've been in this kind of next man up mentality for quite a while, and we're going to have to dig in and do it again.
So they played their first game on Saturday without Paul George against the New Orleans Pelicans, who have won 4 in a row against Philly dating back to the 23-24 season. Tyrese Maxey for the Sixers coming off a 40-point game against the Kings the other night, seeking consecutive 40-point games for the first time in his career. But, again, no Paul George. So Joel Embiid, well, he picked up the slack on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Joel, and now a switch. Maxey against Zion Williamson to Joel. Embiid for 3. It's up. It's good. A big-time 3. Joel Embiid knocks it down. Trifecta. Sixers by 7.
Sixers go on to win at 124-114 over the Pelicans, snapping a 4-game losing streak to New Orleans. Embiid goes for 40 with 11 rebounds, his 44th 40-point, 10-rebound game, passing Shaq for the second most since the merger. It's his first 40-point game this season. Continuing on with the NBA on ABC on Saturday night, the Dallas Mavericks in Houston to take on the Houston Rockets. It's the 4th and final matchup of the season between the division rivals. Dallas taking 2 of 3, but the home team winning each of the previous 3 matchups this season. Rockets are 16-4 at Toyota Center this season, their second best home record in the NBA to Oklahoma City. Houston, though, just 9-7 in the month of January. Dallas 7-7. Let's get to the action. Second quarter, Mavs down by 2, and Cooper Flagg making things happen late.
Flagg on the run to the rim, and jams it home with the right hand. Capella was there to contest, and a hair too late. Cooper Flagg with a highlight reel play to get to 11 points.
Mike Cousins on ESPN Radio. The Rockets would lead 59-51 at the half. Rockets started the second quarter with a bang from Alperen Sengun.
Amen Thompson on the controls, just celebrated his 23rd birthday yesterday. Hands it off to Durant, lobs it right, and a jam. Alperen Sengun right down Broadway. Just his 3rd made field goal. It's the Rockets by 10, their largest lead of the night.
Watch your head, Najee Marshall. He punished him there as a flare screen. 2 defenders go out with a flare, man. You get Sengun rolling to the basket hard.
61-51, the Rockets leading at that point. We get to the fourth quarter. Things are getting tight. Najee Marshall making things even tighter.
Flagg, right side, jumper, and is off the iron. Offensive rebound. Marshall floats it up top for Christie, left angle. Now to Marshall, top of the key. Drives left elbow, pull up for the tie. He got it. We're even at 107.
Tied at 107, but Sengun on the other end for the Rockets, trying to get the lead back.
40 seconds to go. Amen Thompson on the dribble. He's got 21 tonight.
2 for 1.
Sengun to the free throw line. Turns to face against Christie. Big size advantage. Pulleys his way up. Floats it up on the right and scores. 28.6 to go. Timeout, Mavericks.
2-point lead for the Rockets at that point. They'd go on to win it 111-107. Amen Thompson led it for the Rockets with 21 points, 9 assists. He joined Lisa Salters after the win on ABC.
Amen, just what was the key to closing this one out? just trying to get stops. Coop had it going. He was hitting shots, but just getting stops at the very end and getting the rebounds.
Yeah, you said Cooper Flagg, he had it going. It looked like he was single-handedly trying to steal it from you guys. Just how were you able to keep him from beating you?
I don't know, man. We were playing good defense, and he ended up missing some shots. So.
Ime Udoka talked about this team's resolve, how you guys know that you can rely on your depth. Just how did that resolve just kind of show up and serve you tonight to get this win?
You see it with J.O. He comes in, he plays great defense. He does all the little things. And Dorian, Reed, Tari, CC, Clint, they really help us.
That was Amen Thompson with Lisa Salters after the game as the Rockets beat the Mavericks 111-107. The two teams split the season series now. Kevin Durant with just 13 points and 8 assists for Houston. Jabari Smith added 19. Rockets now 17-4 at home at Toyota Center this season. Meanwhile, Cooper Flagg 34 points and 12 rebounds in the loss for Dallas. Switch gears to some college basketball. 14th ranked Kansas playing host to 13th ranked BYU. BYU's won both previous meetings since joining the Big 12. It's the first time that the teams are both ranked in a matchup. Kansas looking for their 5th straight win. Let's get to some late first half action, and Kansas putting it to BYU.
There's that zone again. Darren out top. Usually this is an alley-oop. Peterson gets around his man, hangs. Oh, my! A right-hand hammer! He fires it home! A poster dunk on an electric day in Allen Fieldhouse. Wow!
Darren Peterson with the dunk there. Brian Haney from Learfield as Kansas led it big at halftime. Peterson with 18 points, but all of them with the first half. He would leave the game at the 16:46 mark of the second half. Let's get to some second half action where Bryson Tiller was picking up the slack for Peterson's absence.
Udunga at the top, finds White. Shot fakes on a three, hooks it past the Flory. Across the blocks, Tiller. He lays it up and in. How about that passing post to post and Tiller for two. Ball doesn't stick. Quick precision passing and ends up with a dunk.
Tiller with a career-high 21 points, and Kansas goes on to knock off BYU.
KU will get it in. The final 3 seconds drip off the clock, and you can rock. Chalk it up. The Jayhawks win the 1,000th game in the illustrious history of this great building. An instant classic.
It's a good one, but Kansas hangs on for the 90-82 win over 13th-ranked BYU. Bill Self discussed the injury, by the way, to Darren Peterson in the post-game press conference after giving his thoughts on the game overall.
Great day and proud of our guys. The only thing that's unfortunate about the whole thing, although, obviously Marco got nicked up and DP got cramps, but short turnaround. So, there's no time to really rest up because we got to take on a, great team on Monday night.
Sticking with the Big 12, top-ranked Arizona, the Wildcats, winners of 6 in a row against their in-state rival Arizona State. They squared off on Saturday. It was a 89-82 victory for Arizona against Arizona State earlier this season. Arizona 21-0, looking to stay unbeaten, and they were up big in the second half on Wildcats Radio.
Murray's with the ball for Arizona, being chased. Head to Bradley. Got to get it across the course. Bradley does it. Koa Pete. He'll drive the lane. Slam it home. Owaka with a tremendous screen down low to free up Koa Pete.
That made it 79-65 at that point. Arizona now 22-0 with an 87-74 win on the road. It's now the best start in program history, ties the longest win streak in school history. The game was tied at halftime. It was only the third time this season the Wildcats had not led at the half. Koa Pete with a game-high 21 points, his fourth 20-point game this season. All 5 Arizona starters in double figures. Let's get to 11th-ranked Texas Tech taking on UCF, and the Knights making things tough for the Red Raiders. Here's Mark Daniels from Learfield.
Kicks it to the corner. Cuddy fires a 3-ball. It's off, no good. Rebound, Stillwell. Gets it ahead. Throws it down to Chris Johnson. He's got a clear path to the basket, and he dunks it in. 5-point game. Timeout, Texas Tech with 25 seconds to go.
And it would be all she wrote as Texas Tech goes down.
9-point lead with 8 seconds to go. Texas Tech brings it up into the front court. Watch to Anderson. He'll fire up a three. It's off, no good. Let's get naughty in Orlando on a space game victory celebration for UCF. The Knights knock off 11th ranked Texas Tech. Final score, UCF 88, Texas Tech 79 on a Saturday afternoon. UCF celebrates one of the biggest wins of the season.
Texas Tech with the 88-79 victory over UCF with an 88-79 victory over Texas Tech. UCF pulling off the victory. John Bull with 14 points and 10 rebounds in the win. First win over a Big 12 team ranked in the AP Top 15 since January 10th of 2024. That was against number 3 Kansas. Snapped a 10-game losing streak in that department. Meanwhile, for Tech, JT Toppin, 27 points and 10 rebounds in the loss for Texas Tech. First loss against an unranked team for Tech since losing to Arizona in the Big 12 tournament last year. Let's get to 20th ranked Louisville taking on SMU. Louisville in a tie game in the second half. We're all knotted up at 53. Kobe Rogers changed that.
Rebound tipped around, corralled by Roots for Louisville. Looking to push up the floor. Lay-in on the other end for Kobe Rogers. And Louisville has got their first lead, 55-53 at the 14:30 mark.
Later in the second half, more from Louisville as Isaac McNeely tried to put some separation.
This pass is not free and turned over. Woolley the other way for the Cardinals. Bounce pass. Roots kicks it into the corner. Shot fake for Rogers out. McNeely wide open three. Got it! Isaac McNeely buries it from downtown. Timeout SMU.
On ESPN Radio, 20th ranked Louisville goes on to beat SMU 88-74. Louisville trailed by as many as 12 points and for as much as 22 minutes and 15 seconds of game clock, but they had outscored SMU 44-27 in the second half after trailing by 3 at halftime to come up with the victory. Louisville, an ACC best 16th game with at least 10 made threes this season. Mikel Brown Jr. with 20 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds in the game for Louisville in the win as they beat SMU 88-74. How about 6th ranked Gonzaga taking on St. Mary's? Let's get to the second half where Graham Ike making things happen from downtown.
Ike dribbles away from pressure with 4 seconds to shoot. He'll step back. They leave him open. He shoots the three and hits the three-point shot. Campbell retreated. Graham knocked down his 3rd three of the night, and the lead is back to 10 at 71-61.
That was Tom Hudson from Learfield. 6th ranked Gonzaga knocks off West Coast Conference rival St. Mary's 73-65 the final. Mark Few and Randy Bennett, the 50th meeting between these coaches when at least one team is ranked, breaking a tie with Mike Krzyzewski taking on Gary Williams for the most such matchups between head coaches in the AP Polls history. It's the 15th straight win for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, tied with 21st ranked St. Louis for the 4th longest active streak in Division I, behind Arizona, Miami of Ohio, and UConn. Ike, 30 points, including the 3 made threes from Ike and 4 rebounds. His first game back after missing the last 3 with some ankle soreness. Second 30-point game this season for Ike. Again, his 6th ranked Gonzaga beat St. Mary's 73-65. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. When we come back, more from the NBA hardwood. That's next. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
NBA Sunday on ESPN Radio. It's an interleague showdown at the Garden.
Oh, what a big shot!
Luka LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers go head-to-head with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern, with tip-off at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app, presented by Indeed. More SportsCenter all night, coming up next.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send the text.
Text HIM to 369-369 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 369-369. That's HIM to 369-369. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional working and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
The GLP-1 pill you've been waiting for is now on Ro. Yep, it's finally here. With the same clinically proven ingredient. Now in a pill. And now on Ro. It's the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. At the lowest price available. That's one daily GLP-1 pill for big results. Now on Ro. Go to ro.co/join to see if you qualify. RX only. Go to ro.co/safety for serious side effects and boxed warning associated with GLP-1s.
Listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Now, here's Alex Del Barrio.
We continue rolling on here on Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Tune in for NBA action tonight as the Knicks host the Lakers, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We'll stick to the NBA hardwood. Timberwolves taking on the Grizzlies. Timberwolves averaging an NBA best 123 points on the road. Anthony Edwards did not play in the lone game versus Memphis this season on December the 17th, but he did have 44 points in his most recent game against the Grizzlies last season. What could he do this time around? Let's get to the fourth quarter.
Good cut. Edwards off glass for two, 31 for Ants. That's his 14th 30-point game on the road this season. Only SGA has more.
Wolves would go on to beat the Grizzlies 131-114. Anthony Edwards, 33 points in his 21st 30-point game this season, tied with Tyrese Maxey for fifth most in the NBA. 4 20-point scores in the game for Minnesota. It's the sixth straight loss for the Memphis Grizzlies, their longest losing streak since a 9-game skid back in the 23-24 season. Meanwhile, the Spurs in action taking on the Hornets, and Charlotte getting the better of San Antonio on Saturday.
LaMelo, high pick and roll with Bridges, feeds Miles, passed on the three, he goes right around Wemby with a right-handed hammer. He made Wembanyama stumble, and Miles Bridges throws down a Dr. Pepper dunk.
On WFNZ, Miles Bridges with the dunk. Hornets knock off the Spurs 111-106. It's the sixth straight win for Charlotte, their longest since 2016. Brandon Miller goes for 26 points. Victor Wembanyama with 16 points and 8 rebounds in the loss, but was a minus 14 in the game. Meanwhile, Bulls taking on the Heat. Second game between the Bulls and Heat in a 3-day span. Heat have won each of the previous 2 meetings between the squads this season. Bulls with 3 straight losses. They are 1-5 on the road in the month of January. Let's get to the action as the Bulls getting something big from Ayo Dosunmu.
Here's Ayo deep, top side 3 good. Ayo Dosunmu with 27. That's his 5th triple. Wow, that was a big-time shot right there. The big stage and the big bright lights for the kid from Morgan Park.
And it broke the tie. It was 113-113. That made it 116-113 on 6:70 to score. The Bulls snap a 3-game losing streak. They beat the Miami Heat 125-118. Dosunmu with 29 points and 9 assists in the win for Chicago. Jaime Jaquez Jr. with 20 points off the bench for Miami. It's his 13th 20-point game off the bench this season. That's good for most in the NBA. Hawks in Indiana to take on the Pacers. Pacers 8-20 since the start of December. It's the second worst record in the NBA in that span. Hawks have won the previous 2 matchups against Indiana, including a matchup on October the 31st, 126-108. They haven't won 3 straight games versus the Pacers in a single season since sweeping them in the 21-22 season. Let's get to the action in the fourth quarter with Indiana holding the lead on Atlanta.
Nembhard has it. He'll let a 3 go from dead on and nail it.
That stepback has been deadly here tonight.
Nembhard has made 5 of his 7 threes. The Pacers lead by 8 with under 8 minutes to play in the fourth.
Nembhard giving them a 112-104 win on 107.5 The Fan. The Pacers go on to win at 129-124. Pacers have now won 5 of their last 6 as home after starting 5-15 at home this season. Pascal Siakam with 25 points, his 9th straight game with 20 or more, the second longest streak in his career. Jalen Johnson with a triple-double, meanwhile, for Atlanta. 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. His 8th triple-double this season and his 3rd career 30-point triple-double. Let's get back to the college hardwood. 10th-ranked Houston taking on Cincinnati. And Isaiah Hartwell hitting from downtown for Houston.
Tilray tries, goes behind the back and throws it away. Loose ball, Uzan. Uzan to Flemings. Flemings left elbow finds DeTreller. Harwell, right wing 3. Got it. Isaiah Harwell with 13 points.
Isaiah Harwell, you hear it there from Jeremy Branham from Learfield as Houston goes on to win. It's the 16th straight home win for the Houston Cougars, tied for the longest active win streak in the Big 12. Houston with their 8th 20-point win this season, the 4th in Big 12 play, most of any program. Arizona tied that with a win today as well. Cincinnati 1-23 in their last 24 against AP top 20 opponents. Meanwhile, elsewhere, 4th-ranked Duke beat Virginia Tech 69-56, and it was 16th-ranked North Carolina knocking off Georgia Tech 91-75. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. When we come back, we'll have our half-hour headlines and more from the NBA with Paul George getting suspended. That's next. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Super Week 2026 on ESPN Radio. The latest news.
Josh McDaniel and his offense, can you hit some big plays?
Predictions and reactions.
Seahawks, Patriots.
Super Week 2026.
This is it. We're here.
Live from San Francisco, California.
Touchdown.
Next week on ESPN Radio. Presented by SoFi.
Ah, the Internet. A place where your curiosity can flourish. Unless malware gets in the way. It's a place that can surprise you. With phishing websites and trackers. The Internet is wonderful, but you must protect yourself online. Protect yourself online with NordVPN. TechRadar named it the #1 VPN in 2025. A single NordVPN account secures up to 10 devices. What else? This cybersecurity tool also encrypts your browsing. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you block malware, avoid phishing, and stop digital trackers. NordVPN scans the dark web to check that the information associated with your email address is not exposed. Just a few clicks and you're safer online. Browse with more peace of mind. Get the best deal at NordVPN.com.
Running a business? You know that slow phone systems and missed messages cost you opportunities. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, is the #1 business phone system that streamlines communication, helps teams collaborate seamlessly, and respond to customers 24/7 with their AI agent. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo. Try it free, then get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/ESPN, QUO.com/ESPN. They'll even port your existing numbers for free. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
I like things my way. My coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo prefilled syringe, which contains Efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART myway.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by argenx.
Just like in sports, businesses succeed when you have the right free agent. With Robert Half's specialized recruiter's experience, combined with their award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent.
No days off when you love what you're doing. Sundays are the best day of the week because you're just one day away from First Take, returning Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Now, here's Alex Del Barrio.
We continue rolling on here on SportsCenter All Night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, and now Progressive ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. See if you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or Progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter All Night.
Some baseball news. The San Francisco Giants and infielder Luis Arraez have agreed to a one-year contract. The former batting champion intending to play full-time at second base for the Giants. News reported by ESPN baseball reporter Jorge Castillo. We had a big trade in the NBA on Saturday. ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania reporting that the Cavaliers are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. It's a three-team trade that also includes Dario Saric moving from the Kings to the Chicago Bulls, along with a couple of second-round picks. And the Philadelphia 76ers will be without Paul George for a good chunk of the season after the NBA suspended him for 25 games for violating the NBA's drug policy. Shams Charania on Inside the NBA discussed the suspension and what he found out from George in his reporting.
This is a highly unusual and stunning development, Ernie, for one of the league's really great players in the past and someone of his caliber. But Paul George told me today in a statement that this occurrence happened for Paul George with this test that led to a 25-game ban due to an improper medication for a mental health-related issue, not a physical one. Paul George told me that he takes full responsibility for his actions and, quote, poor decision-making. And remember, back in 2020, during the NBA bubble, Paul George was outspoken about mental health that he faced during that time, even in the past few years. But he will now be sidelined through March 25th. He's going to be eligible for the last 10 games of the 76ers season. And in total, guys, this is going to cost Paul George almost $12 million.
It'll be $11.7 million of his $51.7 million salary. It's going to be a little under $470,000 missed for each of the 25 games missed. It started on Saturday with the game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Nick Nurse declined to discuss details of his conversation with George after the suspension was announced. Meanwhile, the guys on Inside the NBA discussed the situation, and Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA felt that because this was a mental health-related issue and it was due to a medication, he feels that Paul George should perhaps get a hall pass.
If the NBA and, DeMar DeRozan, who we love, and Kevin Love, they've been the two most outspoken advocates for mental health. But if you're taking some for mental health, even if it's on a list, you should get a hall pass.
As for Kenny Smith, he gave his thoughts on the suspension.
If this is the accuracy of what happened, isn't this an oxymoron, like a contradictory of terms? Like you have mental health and you're taking medicine for it that you can't? That would be, to me, that's why I don't understand it. I'm not sure what drug or medicine that he was taking, but that is a contradictory of terms. So I'm sure that Adam Silver wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't add up to me because, again, it's a contradiction. If you have mental health, there is nothing that you should take that help you that you can't take.
It was Kenny Smith on Inside the NBA. Meanwhile, we told you in our half-hour headlines that the Cavaliers have made a trade, sending DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. The three-team trade also included the Chicago Bulls acquiring Kings forward Dario Saric and 2 future second-round picks. This reported by Shams Charania. Meanwhile, Gary Washburn, Boston Globe national NBA writer, was on Game Night on ESPN Radio, and he was asked why the Cavaliers decided to trade DeAndre Hunter.
Well, I think it kind of lends hint to a status of Darius Garland, who's obviously just had his injury issues this season, and it kind of supplements their backcourt. I mean, Dennis Schroeder, obviously a very good player with the German national team, and has had, I think might be his 10th or 11th NBA team, can play at a high level. I don't think the Sacramento is the right situation for him. So you bring him in for that backcourt. Obviously, the move to sign Lonzo or trade for Lonzo Ball in the offseason has not worked out. And so and obviously Ty Jerome signed with Memphis, so they just have a void in their backcourt.
Meanwhile, we're approaching the NBA's trade deadline, and depending on which date you want to go by of when the trade was reported and when the trade was finalized, we're at the anniversary of when Luka Doncic was shockingly traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the LA Lakers. And as we look back on that anniversary, let's send it to Christine Lisi.
LeBron James' 31st trip to Madison Square Garden, a 33-point triple-double, and a Lakers win over the Knicks.
12 minutes after midnight on the East Coast on February 2nd, 2025, ESPN senior NBA insider Shams Charania first broke the news of one of the most stunning trades in NBA history. Just a couple of hours after a win over the Knicks, the Lakers were acquiring 5-time All-NBA guard Luka Doncic from the Mavericks just 8 months after he led Dallas to the NBA Finals.
I mean, everybody was surprised, so you can imagine how surprised I was. When I got a call, I had to check. It was April 1st. I didn't really believe it at first.
Los Angeles sent Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick to the Mavericks, plus Jalen Hood-Schifino and a 2025 second-round pick to the Jazz in order to acquire a new superstar to play with LeBron James, who was left just as stunned as everybody else.
I was out with my family at dinner and I got the news, and the first time I heard it, I thought it was for sure fake. But then when AD called me, even when I got off the phone with him, it still didn't seem real.
Nico Harrison, who was fired as Mavericks general manager 9 months after the trade, made it clear following the deal he was focused on improving on the side of the ball Doncic struggled with.
We've had a vision and the culture that we want to create since we've been here. And the players that we're bringing in, we believe exemplify that. And, we think defense wins championships. We really feel that they're adding into the culture that we're trying to create here. We feel that defense wins championships.
Reports also quickly surfaced that Harrison was frustrated with Luka's conditioning. The reaction to the trade in Dallas, where Doncic first arrived as a 19-year-old in 2018, was extremely negative. A few months after the trade, Harrison admitted he didn't see the reaction coming.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level.
Despite Doncic's initial hesitation regarding the trade, he signed a 3-year, $165 million max contract extension with the Lakers in August 2025.
You guys welcome me with open arms. I wanted to be here. This is an amazing organization.
After falling in the play-in tournament and missing the playoffs, the Mavericks ended up with the first pick in the 2025 NBA draft, which they used to select Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, I was extremely surprised. All my draft prep up to that point was, us being in the 11th position. But things happen. Fortune favors the bold.
Dallas Dallas is sitting outside the top 10 in the Western Conference, with Anthony Davis having played in just 20 games this season, and Kyrie Irving still working his way back from a torn ACL suffered 11 months ago. On a brighter note, Flagg is averaging over 19 points per game as a rookie and recently set the record for most points in a single NBA game by a teenager.
The ball for three. He hits! What a shot by Flagg! It's a 49-point game for Cooper Flagg!
The Lakers, on the other hand, are 29-18 and holding on to a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Doncic is leading the way for the team, averaging 33.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.8 assists.
Throws up a reverse. Good, and he's got 40. 40 points for Luka Doncic in his return to Dallas.
Again, the NBA trade deadline is looming, coming up on February the 5th, and there's still some rumors out there on what will happen as a result to perhaps Giannis Antetokounmpo. But Tim Bontemps, ESPN NBA reporter on Game Night on Friday, said because of some injuries, it's going to be a pretty dull trade deadline, he suspects.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm really not sure. It's just that's kind of what it's kind of been an incredible sequence of events that has led to this. Like, if Anthony Davis was healthy, I would say Anthony Davis would be very likely to be traded over the next week. However, Anthony Davis is not healthy, so I think it's unlikely that he gets moved in a deal. I would have said 2 weeks ago when Jimmy Butler was healthy and the Warriors were rolling along that if he hadn't gotten hurt, whether Giannis came available or not, I think the Warriors would have done something pretty interesting to try to improve their roster with the way they were playing to give Steph Curry a chance. I would also say now that Jimmy Butler's hurt, unless a Giannis deal comes along, I think it's more likely they probably stand pat. And, then you've got teams like Minnesota and New York and Miami, like the other teams that are in the Giannis mix, like they would obviously like to get Giannis, but if Giannis isn't available, I think they might all wait to see what their teams look like and then pivot.
Meanwhile, Brian Windhorst, ESPN senior NBA writer, was on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt on Friday, and he kind of reiterated some similar thoughts that it might make more sense for the Bucks to wait until the summer to deal Giannis.
It just makes sense for the Bucks to wait until the summer, and let me explain why.
Okay.
Obviously, the Golden State Warriors are very interested, although we're all hoping Steph Curry's knee is okay after him having to leave this game early tonight. But the Warriors' offer really is not going to change much between now and the summer. Certainly, the Warriors may feel like they could change it, but it's not like it's materially going to change. The other teams who are making bids, though, can make better offers in the summer. Okay, the Miami Heat could offer more draft picks. The Knicks could offer more draft picks. The Wolves can offer more draft picks. Plus, between now and the summer, the Bucks will be able to have more information. What I mean by that is they will know where their draft pick is, which I think they intend to low-key tank the rest of the season. They will know where everybody else's draft pick is in the lottery, and they, potentially those picks could be involved, if not directly, but indirectly through third teams. And you will just have a better sense of where you're going.
So still some questions to be had on what will happen come the NBA trade deadline. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. On ABC on Saturday night, the Dallas Mavericks were in Houston to take on the Houston Rockets, the fourth and final matchup of the regular season between the two teams. The home team winning each of the previous three, so Dallas leading the series going in 2-1. The Rockets, though, 16-4 at Toyota Center this season, the second best home record in the NBA. Alperen Şengün making things happen with the game tied at 107 on ESPN Radio.
40 seconds to go. Amen Thompson on the dribble. He's got 21 tonight. 2 for 1. Şengün to the free throw line. Turns to face against Christie. Big size advantage. Bullies his way up. Floats it up at the right and scores. 28.6 to go. Timeout, Mavericks.
Mike Cousins on ESPN Radio. The Rockets win at 111-107 over the Mavericks. Amen Thompson led it for Houston with 21 points, 9 assists, and Kevin Durant with just 13 points and 8 assists. Houston's Jabari Smith also added 19 points. Şengün with the big game and obviously the big make there to put the Rockets up after the game was tied. He joined Mike Cousins and Kalina Azubuike after the game on ESPN Radio.
Albron, this seemed like very much a team effort tonight where you had 6 guys score at least 13 points. You held off some really good late runs there from the Mavericks. What was key to keeping Dallas at bay in this game?
It's late of January. Everybody's stuff going on. Everybody's tired, a little back-to-backs. So we need everybody in the court. And today everybody was ready. Everybody did something. Everybody did something off a little bit and have to win.
That was a really interesting game because usually you guys dominate the offensive glass, but you didn't have to win that battle, and you still came away with a win, kind of controlling a super fast-paced, athletic Dallas Mavericks team. What were the talks coming in like when it comes to dealing with all the pace and the fast breaks and all of that they want to do with their athleticism?
Yeah, I think since AD got hurt, they number 2 in transition, so that was the key for us. I think we are a really good half-court defensive team, and we just need to get to, because we crush a lot, we crush the board a lot, that's why we got some transition points, but, we were trying to eliminate that, the last point we can get.
Are you guys wanting to show, even though Kevin Durant didn't have an amazing scoring game, the balanced scoring kind of won out for you guys? Is that something you guys pride yourself on? Even if your best player isn't having the best game, you're not having your best game, you guys can still win hard-fought battles, a clutch win tonight.
Yeah, man, that's why we are a great team. We have a lot of talent in our team. A lot of people can score the ball, and we're gonna have some off nights. And that night, everybody needs to be ready. Knock the shots, transition, more effort, crash the board, everything.
Alperen Sengun after the game as the Rockets beat the Mavericks and split the season series with their division rival. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. We're officially 1 week away from Super Bowl 60 between the Patriots and Seahawks. Let's get to some press conference audio. First from Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel discussing shoulder injury for Patriots quarterback Drake May and how his shoulder was responding after practice over the weekend.
Favorably? Yeah, it was fine.
How much did he practice yesterday, Mike? Tell us.
Well, however you label limited, that's how much he practiced. It wasn't full, and so if it's not full, it has to be down as limited. So I don't know what percentage of the normal work, but it's pretty clear that if you're not, you don't take the normal reps or whatever you would normally take. So it wasn't that much.
On the other side, Mike McDonald, Seattle Seahawks head coach, talking about his quarterback and Sam Darnold on silencing the outside noise.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, hey, when we're, in the good and the bad, whatever the bad is, but when the opinions are changing back and forth, he's been the steadfast, force throughout the whole thing. And that's who he is. That's who he is. So, and one of the reasons why I think he carries so much respect, within our building and with our team. So, let us go defend him, but he'll keep being himself.
And just 1 week away from Super Bowl 60 between the Patriots and the Seahawks. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Coming up, our top sound from Saturday. That's next. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app.
The NFL on ESPN Radio.
New England 9-0 on the road.
Week to week, team to team.
Drake May, he's played in 3 playoff wins. That's as many as Lamar Jackson. It's 1 more than Dak Prescott.
The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio. More SportsCenter all night. Coming up next.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional, working, and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
The GLP-1 pill you've been waiting for is now on Ro. Yep, it's finally here. With the same clinically proven ingredient. Now in a pill. And now on Ro. It's the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. At the lowest price available. That's one daily GLP-1 pill for big results. Now on Ro. Go to ro.co/join to see if you qualify. RX only. Go to ro.co/safety for serious side effects and boxed warning associated with GLP-1s.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Running a business? You know that slow phone systems and missed messages cost you opportunities. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, is the #1 business phone system that streamlines communication, helps teams collaborate seamlessly, and respond to customers 24/7 with their AI agent. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo. Try it free, then get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/ESPN, QUO.com/ESPN. They'll even port your existing numbers for free. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
NBA Sunday on ESPN Radio. It's an interleague showdown at the Garden.
Dribbles to the right, takes 2 defenders, dunks under, up and under, layup's good. What a move by Doncic.
Luka LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers go head-to-head with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks.
Brunson with a jab step, fires a 3. Oh, what a big shot!
The Lakers at the Knicks. Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern, with tip-off at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with their award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Because he's attached to Sean McDermott, when you go in for that first team meeting, you have to let guys know this is the Joe Brady show. This is the way we're going to do things. I'm familiar with everyone in this room, but moving forward, we're going to do things differently than what we did in the past. It has to be that way, right? Because why did they hire you if it's not going to be that way?
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Now, here's Alex Del Barrio.
We continue rolling on here on Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. And a big trade in the NBA, plus a big suspension as well, as Paul George goes on the shelf for the Philadelphia 76ers for the next 25 games. Get some more of that later on Sports Center all night. But a lot of things happen on the floor as well and on the ice. Let's get to some of that action with Ed Bacon with our top sound.
Sports Center all night.
Oh, my goodness. Check it out on Sports Center tonight.
Today's top sound.
How good is that? Are you ready to take?
Number 4.
Alex, we start in Houston in a Texas showdown in the NBA. In the end, it was the Rockets holding on to the 4th spot of the West and handing the Mavericks their 4th loss in a row, as heard on ESPN Radio.
40 seconds to go. Amen Thompson on the dribble. He's got 21 tonight. 2 for 1. Şengün to the free throw line. Turns to face against Christie. Big size advantage. Pulleys his way up. Floats it up on the right and scores. 28.6 to go. Timeout, Mavericks.
Number 3.
In Charlotte, the Hornets stung the Spurs with the help of a driving dunk by Miles Bridges, as we hear on WFNZ.
LaMelo, high pick and roll with Bridges. Feeds Miles. Passed on the 3. He goes right around Wemby with a right-handed hammer. He made Wembanyama stumble. And Miles Bridges throws down a dunk.
Number 2.
To the ice, where after losing in Montreal on Thursday, Nathan McKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche bounced back with an impressive win in Detroit on Saturday. You get more from Altitude 92.5.
And now it's sent around off the skate. Turned over. Lekanen. Near side McKinnon. One-timer. He scores. Say hello to Mr. 40. Nathan McKinnon, 40 goals on the
the season, his 13th multi-goal game of the year. That's the most in team history.
Number 1.
We end with overtime hockey in Philadelphia, where Quinton Byfield of the Kings got past the Flyers, as heard on 710 ESPN in L.A.
Kings will go out to center ice, step back in, Byfield right circle, shoots and scores! Quinton Byfield wins the game in overtime. Final score in Philadelphia. It's the Kings 3 and the Flyers 2.
That was Ed Benkin as with our top sound here on ESPN Radio. Let's get to some tennis in the Australian Open, a rematch of the 2023 Australian Open final in the 2026 Australian Open final, as Aryna Sabalenka took on Elena Rybakina in the women's final. And let's get to the action in the third set as Rybakina looking to put it away.
Yes, it's a Rybakina. Elena Rybakina is the one. 6-4, 4-6. The Australian Open champion.
Sabalenka was into her fourth Australian Open final, but Rybakina earns her second career major title, with the other coming at Wimbledon in 2022. And already the only male or female player that representing Kazakhstan to win a major singles title. Rybakina trailed 3-0 in the final set before winning 6 of the final 7 games in the match. Rybakina on ESPN expresses thanks after winning the Australian Open.
Yeah, thank you everyone who made this tournament possible. Tennis Australia, Craig, of course, for making us feel so well here. And it's a really happy slam, and I always enjoy coming here and playing in front of you guys. And of course, I would like to say thank you to my team. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. Really, we had a lot of things going on, and I'm really glad that we achieved this result. And thank you to all of you. And yeah, hopefully we can keep on going strong this year. And yeah, also I would like to say thank you to the medical team here, always doing a great job. And hope I didn't forget anyone. Actually, I want to say thank you to my sponsors, of course, and also president of Tennis Federation, Bulaja Mitrovic. Thank you always for coming and supporting us. Today we had a few other matches with Kazakhstan players, and I'm really proud, and yeah, hopefully we can continue doing a great job. Thank you so much, everyone.
Meanwhile, coming up in the men's final, Novak Djokovic taking on Carlos Alcaraz, both looking to make history. Djokovic looking for his 25th major title. Alcaraz looking for his the career slam. Djokovic, his thoughts on facing Alcaraz in the final.
For me, I think also obviously for Carlos, because of his age and everything that he was able to achieve so far. The history is on the line for both of us every time we play. I mean, the finals of Grand Slam, you know, there's a lot at stake, but it's no different from, you know, any other, you know, big match that I play.
Djokovic holds a 5-4 edge in head-to-head matchups. Alcaraz won both their meetings in major finals at both the 2023 Wimbledon and 2024 Wimbledon. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Coming up, more from the NBA, including the situation regarding Paul George and his 25-game suspension, plus plenty of NBA and college basketball highlights. That's next. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
The NFL on ESPN Radio.
Darnold played and won in the way that all the loudmouths said he couldn't.
Week to week, team to team.
Shut a lot of people up by the way that he played.
Ready or not? The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.
Progressive knows RV owners like to travel at a nice, relaxing pace. Just like this commercial. They're not rushing to a departure gate at the airport because they depart from their driveway. And they can relax even more knowing they're protected by Progressive. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
Smalls here. Life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your six figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year 1 needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, they've seen it all. And they're here to help you make the most out of your money for life outside the box. Get started at HRBlock.com.
I like things my way, my coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo prefilled syringe, which contains F-gartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART myway.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
ESPN presents the NHL Stadium Series in a most unexpected place. A hockey takeover of Tampa, Florida and Raymond James Stadium, where the Boston Bruins collide with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Two teams take their shot at a one-of-a-kind game. The 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Bruins, Lightning, tonight at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
On the ESPN app. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Good Sunday morning. Carlos Alcaraz captures the crown at the Australian Open. Takes down Novak Djokovic in 4 sets in the final. 2-6, 6-4, 6-3, and 7-5. At 22, Alcaraz becomes the 9th men's player in tennis history to complete a career Grand Slam and the youngest ever to achieve the feat, passing Don Budge, who completed it in the 1938 French Open a couple days before his 23rd birthday. Novak Djokovic, the most recent guy to join this club, competing the career Grand Slam at the 2016 French Open. It's Alcaraz's 25th ATP title, breaking a tie with Jannik Sinner and Alexander Zverev for second most among active players. Coverage of the trophy presentation continues on ESPN TV. In the NBA, the Rockets keep rolling at home.
Jabari Smith guarded by Flagg. Steps back to create some spacing. Feeds inside for Şengün, who sees a double coming. Gives to Thompson in the lane. Touch pass up top. Smith, three-pointer to beat the buzzer. And he nails it right before the shot clock expires.
That's Mike Cousins here on ESPN Radio. Rockets beat the Mavs 111-107 thanks to Amen Thompson's near triple-double. Had 21, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. Jabari Smith had 19. Kevin Durant finishing with 13 points. Cooper Flagg dropped 34 in the loss. Houston now 17-4 at home this season. The Cavs trading DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Kean Ellis as well.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Monday, Drake May and Sam Darnold will get all the headlines, but I'll tell you which players will decide the Super Bowl. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
City in the Deep South. This is the best week ever with Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
You the best. You the best. You the best. You the best.
Indeed it is. Best week ever on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Always presented by Progressive Insurance. I am Peter Burns. She is Courtney Cronin. I already got a bone to pick with you, CC. I got the email earlier in the week, the text message, the all points bulletin. You're on vacation next week for the Super Bowl? What are we doing here? What are we doing?
This has been the trend for the last couple of years. I'm never here on Super Bowl Sunday. You know this.
Incredible. I mean, just I actually know it, and I get more and more upset each and every year. Like, we build up to the biggest event in the history of the world, literally.
And then I peace out.
And then you're like, deuces, done. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the kind of teammate you are. Also, we got so much stuff to get into. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about NBA players trying to sue their way back into college basketball, which, by the way, basketball season is going on right now. We got Arizona winning 22 straight, that huge Kansas-BYU game. Want to dive into that. We got drama with the Minnesota Vikings. We got drama with the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton and Bo Nix. We've got Bill Belichick not getting into a first-ballot Hall of Famer. But guess what? We had record-breaking stuff that happened just minutes ago. Here's what it sounded like in the Australian Open.
Carlos Alcaraz. It's his night for history at the Australian Open.
6-3, 7-5.
The fastest to win the 4 biggest trophies in the sport.
The youngest, that's right, fastest ever do it, is won all 4 career majors right now. So he's got 4 of them, a little bit of everything. And the youngest to ever do it, CC, at 22 years old. That literally just happened probably, 2 minutes before we came on air.
Yeah, and think about how both of these guys got to this stage. So you've got Carlos Alcaraz, Novak Djokovic, a rematch in another high-stakes event, 5 sets for each in the semifinals on Friday to get here. And what Carlos Alcaraz is doing at 22 years old, first ever to complete the career Grand Slam at that age. Mm-hmm. He's 22. I keep going back to that. You're going to be seeing this guy for the next decade plus, just like we saw with the Joker for all those years. And at 38, he's really not slowing down all that much to get to this stage once again.
Yeah, Djokovic had 24 career Grand Slam titles, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, this is number 4 for Alcaraz. You got plenty of time, but you start looking at that over the next decade. You got to average basically 1 or 2 going forward every single year for at least a decade. So let's say you get a dozen. Is he available to kind of catch that? I think he actually is right now. There's not a lot of guys that are going to be pushing him. Skinner being one of those guys, Medvedev maybe another one. But other than that, I mean, listen. The sky's the limit for him. But something that just happened just moments ago. We'll continue to talk about that here on the show. Remember, Best Week Ever, presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com.
This is the biggest story of the week ever.
All right, so CC, you're leaving me next week for the Super Bowl, but whatever. Is it because you aren't infatuated with this Super Bowl, or is it more about me?
No, it's mostly about you. I'm thrilled for this Super Bowl. I don't understand why we're not giving the Patriots enough credit, why they opened up as 4.5-point dogs. I think they are a much more evenly matched team going into this game with the Seahawks than Denver would have been.
I think it's a lot of, I'm going to personalize this, of what I saw. I think a lot of this is, when I watched Texas A&M football this year, I saw an A&M squad that by record looked really good, but then also there was more of a product of they had beaten just a ton of really bad teams in the SEC and kind of got inflated, then boom, ran into the buzzsaw that is the Miami Hurricanes, and we saw them go on a run and almost win a national championship. I think part of that is the case. I think part of it is people, they don't believe in Drake May. They don't believe in the fact that the Patriots can make that big of a jump, over the last 2 seasons of what they were to what Vrabel has brought right from the jump. And I think a lot of that also is the fact that they're like, were you that much better than the Broncos? I mean, you were, or you kind of were at that point. We'll get into the Bo Nix, Sean Payton debacle a little bit later. But I understand why there's juice around the Seahawks right now. The Seahawks team, does it not remind you a little bit of what the Legion of Boom teams were?
Yeah, they got as long as your defense has a nickname, you're going to relate it to that unit. The Dark Side is what they call themselves now. The number one scoring defense in the NFL. That's a great part. That's a great reason to favor them in the Super Bowl. But I don't even think we're talking about the biggest story enough with the Seahawks. And that's the fact that their offense in the postseason is a different version of itself than we saw weeks 1 through 18. And that's a problem. That's going to be a problem for the New England Patriots. They've got a run game that's been consistent. Even after losing one half of their backfield, they're still doing it at a very high level. They did it last week against the Rams. I think that Sam Darnold's playing the best football of his entire pro career within this last 3-4 week stretch going back to the end of the regular season. I think this Super Bowl matchup carries more juice than we're giving it. I don't know why people aren't like all in on why these two teams with head coaches that are this young and their respective stints are this successful right away. I'm all for it.
I mean, what would have been like so in hindsight, obviously I think the Broncos, had they made the Super Bowl, and especially after the Bo Nix injury, that would have been the overwhelming storyline, right? That it would have been like Jared Stidham all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, leads them to an AFC championship, and then leads them to the Super Bowl. That would have been the overarching storyline. You would have had that. On the other side, you would have had, hey, is this Stafford's last run? So I think, yes, there would have been juicier storylines. But if you're talking about what you want the Super Bowl to be and what the NFL is about right now, is it not defense? Is it not being able to run the ball? And is it not about young quarterbacks trying to take that next step? And I think that's, what you're going to get, obviously, with the Patriots. But on the flip side of it, you're also talking about how you can completely reinvent yourself as a quarterback. And is that not what Sam Darnold has done? Like, is that not the best story of what we're going to be talking about this next week?
And any chance he's had along the way to take shots at his former team, he hasn't done it. This is the story of the week. Super Bowl media nights tomorrow. You know how many questions he's going to get about the Carolina Panthers, about the Minnesota Vikings, about the San Francisco 49ers, the Jets, all of the teams.
I forgot about the Panthers.
That's where it all started, effectively, once he was able to kickstart his career back in this direction. But I think for that reason alone, you have a matchup that is worth its salt. It's a Super Bowl matchup that I think is going to give us a much better game on the than it might appear right now on the surface.
And we'll have all week to talk about it, and then I cannot wait to not talk to you about it next Sunday. And I'm going to call you. Where you going? Do you want to tell?
I'm going to be skiing. You know really? This. Yeah, this is where I go every year. I am calling you on a ski lift. And you know what? Just come to Charlotte. Come hang out here. We got 19 inches of snow yesterday, and people know how to we need the ESPN Bristol crew to come down here and give us PowerPoint presentations of how people in the South actually need to drive in the snow. Cam, we'll get you guys y'all come in, y'all help out. That'll be the future. All right. We're talking about the Patriots here playing in the Super Bowl, but there's a much bigger story that happened this week about a former Patriot head coach. It's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. We'll dive into Bill Belichick and what went into that. And it might not be the reason you think. That coming up next. She's Courtney Cronin. She is a bad teammate. I will be here next week for the Super Bowl. This is the best week ever.
NBA Sunday on ESPN Radio. It's an interleague showdown at the Garden.
Oh, what a big shot!
Luka LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers go head-to-head with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern, with tip-off at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
The Internet, a place where your curiosity can flourish. Unless malware gets in the way. It's a place that can surprise you with phishing websites and trackers. The Internet is wonderful, but you must protect yourself online. Protect yourself online with NordVPN. TechRadar named it the #1 VPN in 2025. A single NordVPN account secures up to 10 devices. What else? This cybersecurity tool also encrypts your browsing. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you block malware, avoid phishing, and stop digital trackers. NordVPN scans the dark web to check that the information associated with your email address is not exposed. Just a few clicks and you're safer online. Browse with more peace of mind. Get the best deal at NordVPN.com.
The GLP-1 pill you've been waiting for is now on Ro. Yep, it's finally here. With the same clinically proven ingredient. Now in a pill. And now on Ro. It's the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. At the lowest price available. That's one daily GLP-1 pill for big results. Now on Ro. Go to ro.co/join to see if you qualify. RX only. Go to ro.co/safety for serious side effects and boxed warning associated with GLP-1s.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with their award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent. Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional, working, and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
Breaking news, and it's a stunner. 8-time Super Bowl champ Bill Belichick will not get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility.
I think that he was hurt. I think he was disappointed. You know, he asked people, like, what does a guy have to do? 6 Super Bowls isn't enough, apparently.
I think it's ridiculous. The credentials are there. Kind of sounds similar to what happens in baseball with guys that are linked to steroids, cheating. When you think Hall of Fame coach, Bill Belichick, you could put him up there with all the greats in the NFL.
Probably the first time in my life I'd ever think about Bill Belichick and Shakira at the same time. And I can almost see him and his girlfriend like doing the dance together. Hips don't lie. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever on ESPN Radio. What, are you laughing? You can't tell me that didn't cross your mind.
No, it didn't. Not until
not
you
at one
just said
point?
that. That image did not exist in my mind until 30 seconds ago.
Come
Thank
on,
you.
Bill. Do the dance, Bill. Bill Belichick, who has won 6 Super Bowls, as you heard coming back from break, is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. We've been discussing that all week long. You can weigh in on Twitter at Courtney R. Cronin, myself at Peter Burns, ESPN. Here's what Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion, had to say, courtesy of our great friends over at Seattle Sports 710, on Belichick not being awarded first ballot Hall of Famer.
I don't understand it. I mean, I was with them every day. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there's really no coach that should ever be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is completely ridiculous because people deserve it. And he's incredible. There's no coach I'd ever want to play for. I'd rather play for. If I'm picking one coach to go out there to win a Super Bowl, give me one season, I'm taking Bill Belichick. So that's enough said. There's nothing outside of that. You know, again, when it comes down to votes and, you know, popularity and all that, like, you know, then welcome to the world of voting, and you may as well go, you know, try out for the Oscars or whatever and, you know, get a big panel to tell you if you're good or not.
Brady all but want to just blank you, like just middle fingers to it. You could tell that he's upset and he's passionate about it. And I get it, right? I was surprised. I don't know if shock's the right word, because when you take a step back, Courtney, you'll be like, all right, why would he not be a first ballot Hall of Famer? So when you drill down to it, it's obviously not the 6 Super Bowls. Okay, check. That's part of, I mean, that
third
alone.
most wins all time.
He will be a Hall of Famer before that. So it's not a matter of will he be a Hall of Famer, yes or no. Is it the first ballot, quote unquote, snub? And so obviously the 6 Super Bowls. Then you start thinking about, okay, Tom Brady's a perfect example. What was the record for Belichick before he got Brady? What was it post Brady? You know, whenever Brady left. Brady has 7 Super Bowls, obviously, with the one with Tampa Bay. So you start wondering, all right, the way that the Patriots' run ended is something that was going to be used against them. But I think we all know what this comes down to is Spygate, right? Mm-hmm. About 2006, that the league came in, said you couldn't videotape these things. Then they still got popped for it. He got fined $500,000. They got docked the draft pick on this. And I think there were people, of the 50 voters, at least 10 of them had to say, this is not good enough for first ballot. Like, first ballot should be a no-doubter, no-brainer. There's never even a debate. Why are we having this? I understand it. You can argue if the 6 Super Bowls should be it. But are we understanding that that's why this happened? Like, if you had to get the percentages of why this went down, you're shaking your head. Why?
Because I think the Spygate thing is a convenient excuse. If you want to,
it's not convenient. It's an actual argument. I mean, these are the rules. You cheated, and you were popped for cheating, and so that's not like convenient argument. That's the actual argument itself.
But I don't believe
a convenient argument is him and Jordan Hudson and what has happened at North Carolina, which should play no role into him being a Hall of Fame coach, yes or no. But that is the argument about Belichick not making it, correct?
I don't think it's the biggest one. I think the reason I say it's a convenient excuse because it's okay, look, a tangible thing that he was punished for, cheating. That's why he shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. No one's arguing that he's going to get in eventually, but if you need to tie it to something tangibly, that's the way, the get out of jail free card for the voters, the 11 who didn't vote for him, being look, sorry, I believe in the integrity of the game. He cheated. He got fined for it. They lost a draft pick. It was proven. The bigger reason why he didn't make it into the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, people don't like him. Okay, this is as much of a popularity contest as Tom Brady was talking about with the Oscars.
If you would have been a little nicer, Bill, you would have been there in the first year.
There are a lot of people around the NFL that just flat out don't like Belichick because he wins, because of the cheating scandal, because of his personality. There are media members who covered him, he gave a very hard time. Yeah. I think that factors in more. The character part, which again, something we have to point out here in the flaws of the voting process, among the many things that are wrong with the Pro Football Hall of Fame's process of selecting its Hall of Fame class every year. There's no character clause. And the character clause in Major League Baseball, I think, is ludicrous. And it's something that if you go down the rabbit hole as to why that was implemented, it's just flat out wrong. But there's not one that exists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So then to factor all of those things into why he didn't get in seems like people are using criteria that really shouldn't count for whether you are considered a Hall of Famer or not. But I think it's more than just, I think it's a convenient thing to latch on to if you're one of the believers who say, oh, well, Spygate is enough for me to not vote him in first ballot Hall of Fame.
Courtney Cronin, Peter Burns here on Best Week Ever. I think when you look at it, CC, that if you're putting it all together, let's say it's like a BCS number and there's a formula of it, right? And if we had to dive into why Belichick wasn't or is a Hall of Famer, there's no doubt he is a Hall of Famer. It's a matter of first ballot one way or another. 80% of it is his career. Right? When you look at the 80% of it, you're going to say 6 Super Bowls. Who's done it better? No. You're not talking about George Halas, Curly Lambeau, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Don Shula, all of those 5 coaches that were first ballot Hall of Famers. Okay? Who's going to say they had 6?
None.
It's him, right? So that's the 80%. That's the check mark. The 10% of it is that were there any scandals of around you? Yeah, there were. Yeah, and I take the Deflategate situation out of it because he was cleared of it. This was such a stupid deal, but that was more of a Brady thing. That we can have that discussion down the road than it was Belichick. It happened underneath him, but I don't think it was Belichick going deflate the damn football so Tom Brady can throw it better. No, I'm not buying that. So throw the Deflategate. Anybody that mentions Deflategate they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Now, when you get into the Spygate, this was something that Belichick was doing for many years. Okay, from the get-go that he was over at the Patriots. And really it wasn't until it was brought into the NFL's purview about like, hey, this is happening. Should we put a law, a rule about this? Yeah, we should. And they continued to do it. Then he got popped. That's part of the 10% of this whole 100%. The other part of it is what you said. The 5% of it might be his reactions with the media and how he was just not a great dude with the media, one way or another, or very short with them. And I think the other 5% is, people didn't like his personal decisions, which I'm not saying are right or wrong, but that's part of 5% of the 100%. And it comes at a time, too, where they've changed the voting process as well, too. Courtney, you've talked about that a lot.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that because I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what's the one thing that got him out of that cost him his first ballot candidacy in the Hall of Fame. And I know that people are going to link to Spygate, and there is something I want to bring up about that because he's not the only one he just got caught with it. Other teams had done it. Jimmy Johnson, who was a major proponent for Bill getting in first ballot Hall of Fame, tweeted the day after all of this broke that other teams, including the Dallas Cowboys, tried it. Howard Mudd at Kansas City, who coached for Bill Polian and then Tony Dungy in Indianapolis, gave them the idea.
But the difference was in 2006 is finally when the league says, okay, now we need to put a rule, and then the Patriots still went past that rule.
But, I think the stuff that you're bringing up to and what you're alluding to about Bill Belichick in the most recent years of us knowing Bill as a college football coach and all the off-field stuff, whether it's, it's a completely different version of him than we got when he was in the NFL. You can't tell me that hasn't factored into how some people's perception of him is just a straight-up ick. I know it shouldn't, but I have a hard time believing that isn't how some people view him now, of you've tarnished your legacy based on the post-Brady years, the win-loss record without him, the unceremonious exit, the mutual parting of ways. You got fired from New England. That's what it was. You weren't brought back. You couldn't get a job in the NFL. The way that you went about it to go to college football, the personal stuff with his 25-year-old girlfriend, all of that, I think, you can't say that people don't view that as part of why they don't like him and why they just, frankly, had enough of what Bill Belichick and the person of him is.
Real quick, I want you to listen to what Seth Wickersham had to say about the voting process, because I think this part played even a bigger role of why Belichick wasn't a first-rounder.
It was stunning when Don Van Natta and I learned about it. There are some interesting rules that have changed in the Hall of Fame voting the last couple of years, and I think that the combination of those rules and the fact that voters vote for 3 people in this senior contributor committee rather than just one, and the ghost of Spygate from 2007 came up, and somehow the greatest coach, at least in the Super Bowl era, maybe of all time, fell short of the 40 required votes to make it on the first ballot.
So there's a little nuance in how the voting is different. And one of the things that Seth did not talk about that I think played a role was the fact you no longer have to wait 5 years. Yep. It's a 1-year deal. So I think everything is still so fresh right now. I'm a firm believer, had they still had the 5-year rule, or hell, it had been a 3-year rule, I think Belichick is in on the first ballot. But I'm not going to lose my mind over it. He eventually will get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The question is, will we ever see a first ballot no-doubter going forward?
You won't see a coach. There's no way. If he doesn't get in, Mike Tomlin, all these other guys that are going to come up in the next couple of years will never be that.
And guess what? That's okay. He'll still the coat that he'll wear at the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction will look at the same color as everybody else's coat when he's a Hall of Famer. All right, college basketball changing right in front of our eyes. A crazy case coming up. That next here, Best Week Ever.
Coming up with the Monday edition of Unsportsmanlike with Chris Canty, Michelle Spaulding, and me, Evan Cohen. We'll get you ready for Super Bowl week. Plus, we're less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline. I'll tell you which teams need to make a deal. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
For 100 days, I'm going to cross the 7 continents because the answers to everything important are out there at the edges of our world. I'm stepping into the unknown.
Where are we going?
To see our planet as it's never been seen before. From pole to pole.
Pole to Pole with Will Smith from National Geographic. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Show me the way.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I like things my way, my coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled syringe, which contains Efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
Running a business? You know that slow phone systems and missed messages cost you opportunities. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, is the #1 business phone system that streamlines communication, helps teams collaborate seamlessly, and respond to customers 24/7 with their AI agent. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo. Try it free, then get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/ESPN, QUO.com/ESPN. They'll even port your existing numbers for free. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
No days off when you love what you're doing. Sundays are the best day of the week because you're just one day away from First Take returning Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
This is Adam Schefter, and on this week's episode, the Patriots and Seahawks meet in another Super Bowl. The latest coaching news, plus what's next for the Rams and Broncos. The Adam Schefter Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Super Bowl week is here, but how did you/us spend an NFL-free weekend? That and Reggae Monday all for you when it happens, 3 p.m. Eastern time when it comes to Freddie and Harry. Meet Freddie, Coleman, and Harry Douglas. We will see you on the mighty ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPN Plus.
Earlier on Clinton and Friends.
Walrus, what's up, dude?
I was inspired to write a theme song for Bubba. You don't have a friend in me. You don't have a friend in me. When you want to break some bread, well, I'll leave you out. Call Nuno instead. Just remember what Bubba said. Yeah, you don't have a friend in me.
Clinton and Friends. Weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Good Sunday morning. Carlos Alcaraz completes the career Grand Slam, beating Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open final in 4 sets. 2-6, 6-4, 6-3, and 7-5. At 22, Alcaraz becomes the 9th men's player in tennis history to complete a career Grand Slam and the youngest ever. Now has 7 major titles, his first in Australia, along with 2 at Wimbledon and the French and U.S. Opens. Djokovic falls short of his record 25th major title. His first loss in an Australian Open final, had won his previous 10. Good weekend of college hoops. Top 15 matchup between BYU and Kansas yesterday. Darren Peterson feeling just fine.
Peterson jams it. Oh, what a finish by Darren Peterson. I'm no Dr. J, but I think he's feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, good diagnosis there, Dr. Shulman.
Dan Shulman, Jay Billis on the call on ESPN. Peterson scored 18 points in 20 minutes. Number 14 Kansas beating number 13 BYU 90-82 in the 1,000th game played at historic Allen Fieldhouse. Bryson Tiller had a career-high 21 points and 7 boards for the Jayhawks. Richie Saunders scored a career-high 33 for BYU. Elsewhere, Cavaliers trading DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. 3-team deal, including the Bulls acquiring Kings forward Dario Saric and 2 second-rounders.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, we'll get you ready for Super Bowl week. Plus, we're less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline. I'll tell you which teams need to make a deal. It's on Sportsmanlike 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, welcome back to Best Week Ever on ESPN Radio, always presented by Progressive Insurance. We've got week before the Super Bowl, always kind of that, like you go to the buffet and you just pick at a bunch of different plates, like the plethora of plates, like the cornucopia of like the buffet of
like you in Vegas.
Like me in Vegas, yes. There, because you got a little bit of Australian Open. You had Alcaraz winning. Right now, the youngest ever to have a career Grand Slam. You got a little bit of the Hall of Fame voting that's going on right now. Something called Royal Rumble happened last night. Who won this thing?
Roman Reigns won.
Congratulations. Is that the guy or the girl?
That's a man.
That's a man. Okay, so he evidently won that. Was it a good event? I don't know if it was. How are these things looked at? Josiah, you're our WWE, I think that's what it's called. You are our professional analysts on there. It was a good event, bad event, horrible event?
I thought it was a fun event. Roman Reigns did indeed win. He will go on to the main event of WrestleMania to face a champion of his choosing. Yeah.
Whoa. I'm trying to understand this. So he
gets to pick who.
This is so that was like the semifinals, and now he gets to select. I mean, I know how everybody does their postseason a little bit different in this very professional sport of wrestling right now. When you talk about integrity of the sport, I mean, WWE is at number one of the list. So he gets to pick who he plays next or competes against next?
So this is the start of the playoffs for the WWE, the road to WrestleMania. And yes, the object of the Royal Rumble is when you win it, you get to choose the champion of your choosing to main events that event in WrestleMania.
Okay, so naturally he will pick someone not very good that he will be scripted to win, correct? That's how this thing works?
Yeah, that is part of how the art works.
Okay, I was just understanding. Do they have rankings? Like, I know college basketball right now has rankings. Arizona, number one of the rankings, 22 games in a row. Koa Pete looks great, all of that, right? Like, so are there Royal Rumble or WrestleMania rankings right now?
No, but honestly,
should there be?
Triple H, you're probably not listening. That would be a solid idea, Peter.
I'm just saying, maybe we should have some type of BCS committee that goes into a college football playoff committee when it comes to wrestling, so we all understand.
I'm in for that, actually. There's an idea brewing there.
Boom. There you go. Trademark.
The BCS model can also be applied to Pro Football Hall of Fame voting, but that's just me. Bring back the computers.
Well, you're going to have part of that when we start, maybe KenPom rankings in college hoops. In case you missed it, here it is, courtesy of Wildcats Radio. Number one team in the country rolled last night.
Murray's with the ball for Arizona, being chased. Head to Bradley. Got to get it across, of course. Bradley does it. Koa Pete, he'll drive the lane, slap it home. Owaka with a tremendous screen down low to free up Koa Pete.
Koa Pete ended up having 22 points. They shot 60% of the second half. Arizona looked great. Over in Allen Fieldhouse, it looked awesome. That environment was great for KU and BYU. And here's Brian Haney from Learfield on the call. Darren Peterson throwing it down.
Here's that zone again. Darren out top. Usually this is an alley-oop.
Peterson gets around his man. Hangs. Oh, my! A right-hand hammer! He fires it home! A poster dunk on an electric day in Allen Fieldhouse.
Wow.
Peterson, 18 points in just 20 minutes. Tiller looked pretty good. KU led by as many as 21. That was just a no-doubter against A.J. Diavance and the rest of that Cougar crew right there. And A.J. ended up having 17 points. He didn't score really much in the first half whatsoever, but ultimately KU pulls away. I'm fascinated by the Alabama-Florida game coming up a little bit later because Florida, national champs last year, finding its way early. I think that they have found a different gear as of late. But now Charles Bediako, remember, this is a young man who was in the G League and was playing for Alabama a couple years ago, goes to the G League, never gets really an opportunity to take the next step, never plays in an NBA game, but then asks the NCAA to become eligible again. The NCAA denies it. Alabama appeals it. The NCAA denies that appeal. And then Alabama, normally, in a normal world, CC, you're like, I mean, we did everything we could. The NCAA says no twice, we're done. But no, Alabama says, we don't believe that. So they filed an injunction in state court using a judge who was, shockingly, a Alabama booster and a judge in Alabama. Now,
totally impartial.
Yes and no, because if you're going to be a state judge in the state of Alabama, I think there's like 15 of them. I think 14 of them went to Alabama law. Right. So it's very difficult to not have some type of connection to the university. Now, being a booster, they ultimately recused him from the case, which should have happened from the get-go. But because of the snowstorm that happened, the NCAA couldn't go to the court case last week. And so they said, all right, you can play another 10 games. So they played against Missouri, beat the hell out of them. And now get an opportunity to play against Florida. And I don't know if you remember this. Todd Golden, the Florida coach, when this first news came out about Charles Bediako, said, I don't care if he plays. In fact, good, we'll beat him. It doesn't matter. And this goes into the bigger part of the conversation of where do you draw the line of players being professionally, getting paid professionally, whether it's overseas or NBA or 10-day contracts or G League, and being able to come back and play the college game?
Well, we're seeing this now every single week, I feel. Like you and I talked about Bediako last week because of the 10-day, the temporary restraining order that they filed with the NCAA, that he's allowed to play.
Yeah.
And now the headline that comes out of UCLA this weekend is that Amari Bailey, the guy who had 10 games in the NBA, is trying to go back to UCLA. He's 22 years old, I believe.
He would fit
21?
in the kind of the 5-year range, right? Like Bediako did. Nate Oates said Bediako would have still been a student athlete.
Yeah, because he's 23.
Right. Yeah. So Amari Bailey is that guy.
And he was trying to explore this return to college, and has been, so he got drafted in 2023. He's a second-round draft pick. Doesn't really do much with the Charlotte Hornets, the team that drafted him. So he plays 10 games for them during his rookie season. He's on a 2-way contract. So 2 years in the G League, and then he gets
played 10 games in the NBA. Like Bediako never stepped foot on the NBA court. James Nagy, who got drafted, never stepped foot on the NBA court in that.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about Amari Bailey.
And this is what takes it a step further. Like this guy has actually played in games and is now trying to come back. So I look at this and wonder if the NCAA is going to rule for him in favor of him, like, or at least like put it the other way, where he's going to be able to go back to college. Then that's changing the game here, because that's showing that you can play professionally, figure out that your career's not going the right way, and then go back to college. Like that blows their eligibility cases up. All of the rules are gone at that point. And that's something I don't think the NCAA is willing to do.
Well,
for as much as they don't have a backbone right now of trying to enforce rules because they're worried about getting sued, I think that this is something that, even for them, would be a step too far.
Well, and it is. So for them, remember, they came out and already said, we're not allowing Bediako to do it. Okay? We're not. That's a bridge too far. This is even farther along that bridge is Amari Bailey, who has played in the NBA. And the NCAA has already put out a statement saying, no, we're not allowing this. But once Bediako and once Alabama showed, hey, you could at least go file this in state court, and I don't know how California would be, but if UCLA goes out there and says, all right, well, that's fine, we're going to put it in state court and see how it goes. More than likely, especially in certain states, you think a state judge is going to rule against the state university, especially when some of these judges are elected in a way. Let me tell you, in the South, and this is a whole deal, like the Trinidad Chambliss story on whether or not he's going to get more eligibility at Ole Miss. This is going to go in front of a judge in the state of Mississippi. What do you think that judge is going to do?
rule for him to be able to come
More
back
than
to
likely a rule. The same way that they changed
Unless
the
it's
NIL
Mississippi
rules
State,
every year. Remember, we had NIL rules, and then every single state would create new NIL rules that benefit their own state. And that's probably what's going to happen with Trinidad Chambliss. It's happened with Charles Bediako. I would imagine it happens with Amari Bailey. I think, and I don't blame Amari Bailey or any of these agents for trying. I really don't. Go try. Worst case scenario, they say no. Best case scenario, you're making a boatload of money because you'd be a star and you'll probably make $1 million, probably more than you would be on a 10-day contract or a G League contract. What I blame is that the NCAA allowed the gray area.
Yeah.
Once they said, hey, you can get a paycheck professionally, then the dam broke, okay? Because, I look at a kid like Max McKinnon, the kid that plays at LSU, and there's probably 50 of these kids that play college basketball right now that are European or played some type of professional league overseas because that's their version of college. But once you allowed you to get a paycheck, it shouldn't matter if you got that paycheck from Finland or Brazil or Russia or the NBA. If you got paid to play basketball, at that point, that should have been a hard no. But the NCAA, CC, now has come out and go, well, kind of this, kind of that, and we don't want to get sued, so yeah, that's fine. But now the floodgates have opened, and I don't know how you're going to stop it by any means.
The NCAA is trying to say that, anyone who has signed a professional contract from playing college sports, unless they're making that money from pro teams, the whole actual necessary expenses things, food, rent, whatever costs associated with playing in these leagues, there's too much gray area. This is a hard yes or no. But because they started allowing the James Najee situation at Baylor, giving him the eligibility to go back there, Charles Bediako, and allowing what happened with Alabama, getting him back on the roster, able to play. If this one happens, though, this Amari Bailey thing goes through, then there's no point to have an NCAA after that because you're allowing pro players to come back to play with college athletes. And that's just...
And that sounds wrong. It sounds wrong. But are players right now getting paid to play college basketball?
Yeah, they are.
They are.
And so,
so why is there a difference?
Because it's where the money's coming from, your name, image, and likeness, or whether you're playing in a professional league and whether you're playing as an employee, as a job.
And again, the NCAA now allows that. Okay, they allowed you to get paid. Why do we think Carson Beck went to Miami? Why do we think that Darian Mensah just broke his contract over at Duke to go to Miami? It's because he's going to get paid $6 million. This is why DeMond Williams tried to do it at Washington. Players are getting paid to play collegiate sports. So if I'm college sports right now, I go, you know what? Stop fighting this. And if just go ahead and be a complete competitor or against the NBA, against NFL, against Major League Baseball. For the longest time, you've had college athletes that our college landscape has given a free training ground to the professional sports. And the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball has loved that. They didn't have to pay to develop these players. They got it for free. They got a readied product for their professional product. And now the NCAA has eroded all of those amateurism status. So now I think these universities need to look at college sports as going, all right, we're no longer the little brother of the training ground. Why? Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is probably not, if he gets drafted, it might be a 6th, 7th round guy at Vanderbilt. Or maybe he doesn't even get drafted. Can Diego Pavia then come back? Because I guarantee you, Diego Pavia right now would go make probably $4 million to be back at Vanderbilt next year. And Vanderbilt might be a competitor because of Pavia coming back. It's a fascinating discussion right now on whether or not college sports should just go full professional right now. I don't like it, but you have to adapt and change, and that's what's happening in our society right now as far as collegiate and professional sports. All right, we got a little rapid-fire water cooler, including one huge superstar who may be on the move. That coming up next. Courtney Cronin and Peter Burns, this is the best week ever on ESPN Radio.
Super Week 2026 on ESPN Radio. The latest news.
Josh McDaniel and his offense, can you hit some big plays?
Predictions and reactions.
Seahawks, Patriots.
Super Week 2026.
This is it. We're here.
Live from San Francisco, California. Touchdown. Next week on ESPN Radio. Presented by SoFi.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
I'm Serena Williams, and I'm healthier on Ro. I've lost 34 pounds in a year with GLP-1s, diet, and exercise. On Ro, you can access GLP-1 options, including the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. Go to ro.co/Williams to see if you qualify. 14 to 20% average weight loss in 1 year in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight with a weight-related medical condition versus 2.2% to 3.1% in placebo arm. RX only. To stay informed about serious side effects, go to ro.co/safety.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional, working, and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
Just like in sports, businesses succeed when you have the right free agent. With Robert Half's specialized recruiter's experience, combined with their award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent.
NBA Sunday on ESPN Radio. It's an interleague showdown at the Garden.
Dribbles to the right, takes two defenders, ducks under, up and under, layup's good. What a move by Doncic.
Luka, LeBron, and the Los Angeles Lakers go head-to-head with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks.
Brunson with a jab step, fires a three. Oh, what a big shot!
The Lakers at the Knicks. Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern, with tip-off at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Peter Burrs, Courtney Cronin, best week ever, always presented by Progressive Insurance. Happy ESPN Purchase NFL Network and NFL Digital Assets Day. That just got done. I see the tweets out there. Government regulators have approved it. So now it's NFL Fantasy, Red Zone on cable, and the NFL gets 10% equity of ESPN. There we go. Right. Okay, we're all teammates here. I just saw that just happen. It is the biggest story. I mean, again, we get next week, and then we'll have the Super Bowl next year. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to see. I need Courtney Cronin on the sidelines somewhere during Super Bowl week next year. Can we try to make that happen?
I'm all for it. I'm in Bristol.
Will you actually
week,
not take off next week like you're doing our radio show? Yeah,
I will. Since it's ESPN Super Bowl, I would like to believe that I will be able to go. So I will likely be your teammate next year on the.
Well, I'm not getting invited. You know that. I mean, there's you know I know where I rank on the totem pole, and there's Courtney Cronin, and there's me. Like, the brilliance of my employment at ESPN is how good I make real talent look. Like, you're fantastic. Okay, I worked with Katie George. Look at her; she's doing Australian Open. The first interview that Dan Orlovsky ever did with ESPN was when the first morning I launched this show. He just won an Emmy. I worked with Laura Rutledge, Maria Taylor. Like, if you work with me, my mediocrity in this job just elevates everybody else. And I think that's a Hall of Fame requirement. I mean, I think I'm a glue guy, really. I'm fine.
About to say, if there's a pro radio Hall of Fame, you would be a first ballot guy.
You're
the Bob Cousy of ESPN Radio.
I'm professionally average.
I don't know. We got to look at all the scandals you've been involved in since apparently.
I'll be honest with you. There has not been a blank gate in my life in like the last 2 or 3 years. Like, as my kids have gotten older, I have not got called from ESPN HR not once as of lately. So I feel.
You got your resume stands on its own.
I'm the Sam Darnold of ESPN employees. I feel like I was left out. I was not in a good spot, and then all of a sudden, here I am. Boom. My Super Bowl hosting with Courtney Cronin on Sunday mornings. All right, let's get into Rapid Fire. Let's go.
Rapid Fire Water Cooler.
Peter, Courtney, how are we doing today? We got some big news this week that from our Shams Charania. I'll let him take it away on Giannis potentially moving on.
Sources tell me Giannis Antetokounmpo has made it clear that he's ready and prepared for a trade from the Milwaukee Bucks, whether it's at the trade deadline or in the offseason. My understanding is Giannis has communicated to the organization for months now that he believes it's time to part ways after 13 years together, a championship together. And so the Milwaukee Bucks have gotten aggressive offers from multiple rival teams over the last several days. And I'm told they are starting to listen. These are offers of all-star players, multiple draft picks, and this is all that's been brewing over the last 9 months.
So, Peter, the question for you is, where does Giannis go?
I would love, and I grew up watching Tim Duncan play. And so the idea that you can be small market, win a title and multiple titles is the dream, right? Especially in, that's the old G version, the old version of what I love in sports. I don't know where he heads. I just know it's not Milwaukee any longer. And I'm not going to fault him for that anymore, CC. I mean, 13 years, you bring a title, you end up having one of the biggest memories of all time. I mean, that run that he had, what was it, 21, where they won the world title? Like, he's given up his career for it. But you go from one title to multiple titles. Do we ultimately look bad at LeBron for going to get a bunch of rings? It wasn't great, but that also is one of the reasons why we look at him as, hey, how many titles did he ultimately ended up winning?
Yeah.
Shaq in a different way as well.
But that's what puts pressure on him wherever he goes. And frankly, guys, I don't think it's at the deadline. I don't think it's going to be really hard if you're a team like, I don't know, a contender that would be wanting Giannis right now. Miami, blow up your roster. Orlando, blow up your roster. The only team that makes sense to make it work would be the Golden State Warriors because of contracts that they are trying to move right now. Jimmy Butler being one of those guys. Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, who doesn't even play. Like, you can finesse it. There's few teams that can actually make it work
and
that
have
makes
that
sense.
kind of last dance type opportunity for
Sure.
Steph and whatnot. Yeah.
But that ultimately turns Giannis into Kevin Garnett. He's like Kevin Garnett did with Minnesota, leaving Minnesota, going to Boston, winning the championship. That puts even more pressure on Giannis. You better win a championship right away. Wherever you go, right away. It has to happen like that.
Yeah, and I don't think Giannis is going to I think Giannis, who has valued the loyalty and has shown in his actions the loyalty to Milwaukee, would not do that for the cash grab. He would do it for an opportunity that is like ready-made world title championships right now, right? I mean, you're looking at Milwaukee who are 18 and 28. Like, the last thing I want to see too, right? If I'm a Milwaukee fan, as much as I want Giannis there, I also don't want to see him go out like old Yeller in bad seasons as well too.
Well, he's got to stay healthy. Remember, he self-imposed or self-diagnosed his calf strain of 4 to 6 weeks the other day. So I would like to believe if he does get moved, which again, I do not think it's going to happen before Thursday. There's too many moving parts. But I'd like to believe that calf would immediately start feeling better on a team where he's actually contending for a championship.
Yeah. Oh, my neck, my back. You just got traded. I'm good, dog. I'm ready to play. We've seen that in the NFL a couple times as well too. I'm going to play with the NBA trade machine for like the next 7 minutes in the commercial break. How can the San Antonio Spurs get Giannis? What? Why not? Why?
That's not going to happen.
No, not going to try.
Going to the Warriors, maybe.
Yeah.
Not now.
Hey, this is Rich Eisen. Coming up on Monday's show, Seahawk fan and actor Josh Lucas is in studio, and the same thing with Nikolai Coster-Waldau, the Kingslayer from Game of Thrones, will be in person. That's Monday's Super Bowl week kickoff edition of the Rich Eisen Show on Disney Plus, the ESPN app, and ESPN Radio.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Ah, the Internet, a place where your curiosity can flourish, unless online threats stop you. The Internet is wonderful, but you need to protect yourself online. Protect yourself online with NordVPN. NordVPN encrypts your browsing. Its Threat Protection Pro feature helps you block malware, avoid phishing, and stop digital trackers. Get the best deal at NordVPN.com.
I like things my way. My coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo prefilled syringe, which contains Efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
Running a business? You know that slow phone systems and missed messages cost you opportunities. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, is the #1 business phone system that streamlines communication, helps teams collaborate seamlessly, and respond to customers 24/7 with their AI agent. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo. Try it free, then get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/ESPN, QUO.com/ESPN. They'll even port your existing numbers for free. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
ESPN presents the NHL Stadium Series in a most unexpected place. A hockey takeover of Tampa, Florida and Raymond James Stadium, where the Boston Bruins collide with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Two teams take their shot at a one-of-a-kind game. The 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Bruins, Lightning, tonight at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
This is Freddie and Harry.
Let's keep it direct. This hire was made because of Josh Allen. If Josh Allen did not want Joe Brady to take over this football team, the Buffalo Bills would still be looking for a new head coach. Josh Allen is the head blank of this ship involving the Buffalo Bills. And if Kong not happy, then nobody going to be happy with the Buffalo Bills. King Kong's got nothing on Josh Allen.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. ESPN app, presented by Indeed. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Good Sunday morning. Carlos Alcaraz clinches the career Grand Slam, outlasting Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open final in 4 sets, 2-6, 6-4, 6-3, and 7-5. Alcaraz becoming the 9th men's player in tennis history to complete a career Grand Slam and the youngest ever at 22 years old. Alcaraz now has 7 major titles, his first in Australia, along with 2 at Wimbledon and the French and U.S. Opens. Djokovic falling short of his record 25th major title. It's his first loss in an Australian Open final, had won his previous 10. Elsewhere, Senior Bowl wrapped up in Mobile. The Vikings working on their draft plan after a surprise GM change, firing Kwesi Adofo-Mensah earlier this week. ESPN Radio's Aaron Goldhammer says the timing of the move has him scratching his head.
Usually GMs either get canned like coaches do the day after the season, during the season, but by this point you've started your off-season planning. The Vikings GM was scouting players at the Senior Bowl 2 days ago and was fired yesterday. This is the epitome of organizational dysfunction to have to make a decision like this with this timing.
Goldhammer on Hammer and Emmett. Elsewhere, the Cavaliers are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. 3-team deal, including the Bulls acquiring Kings forward Dario Saric and 2 future second-round picks. Hunter averaging 14 and 4 this season.
Hey, this is Rich Eisen. Coming up on Monday's show, Seahawk fan and actor Josh Lucas will join us in studio, and so will Nikolai Coster-Waldau, the Kingslayer from Game of Thrones. That's Monday's Rich Eisen Show on Disney Plus, the ESPN app, and ESPN Radio.
From the Windy City in the Deep South, this is the Best Week Ever with Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
You the best, you the best, you the best, you the best.
Best Week Ever, ESPN Radio. She is Courtney Cronin. I am Peter Burns. This is always presented by Progressive Insurance. We're going to be talking about Super Bowl storylines, some drama brewing, maybe with the Denver Broncos between Bo Nix and his head coach Sean Payton. You had some thoughts on what's going on with the Minnesota Vikings right now. We'll talk about Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer, and some great college hoop storylines, including we get Florida and Alabama. Going to be a great matchup on a Sunday that does not have the NFL. So we get closer to Super Bowl Sunday coming up next week. Best Week Ever is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance protects your small business needs with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com.
This is the biggest story of the week ever.
Are you the week starts on a Sunday truther or a Monday person, Courtney?
Week starts on a Sunday.
Okay.
It's a Sunday reset. It's why everybody uses Sunday as their day to get ready for the work week.
Okay, right. So I say that because the biggest story of the week ever technically can happen on a Sunday. We just started, and we literally get the biggest story of this upcoming week, at least for right now, because this just happened.
Carlos Alcaraz. It's his night for history at the Australian Open.
6-3, 7-5.
The fastest to win the 4 biggest trophies in the sport.
Alcaraz wins his first Australian Open and completes a career Grand Slam. He's the 9th man to ever get that done. He does it at 22 years young, and it's his 7th career major title, 25th career ATP title. And Alcaraz broken twice in the opening set. We thought, hey, man, Djokovic is going to get career major number 25. Alcaraz says, nope, not going to have it. And now he completes it. Impressive for the young man who now it's just only a matter of time before he starts making those runs.
I love the fact that we had history on the line for both of them entering this match, because it was dramatic in how they got here in the semifinals. Both of them had 5-set thrillers that set up this stage. And what Djokovic was in line for today, that would have been his 25th Grand Slam title at 38 years old. I know some people say, oh, well, he's nearing closer to the end of his career than he is the beginning of it, where Alcaraz is right now. But once upon a time, we were talking about Novak Djokovic the way that we were talking about Carlos Alcaraz right off the rip this morning, which is why men's tennis is in such a good spot. You have stars that continue, you have the reboot of stars, and the young tennis players, whether it's Daniil Medvedev, who's 29, I believe. Yeah. Jannik Sinner is 24. Carlos Alcaraz at 22. It's in a really solid place where the guys who are on the outskirts of the sunset of their career, which Djokovic at some point will be hanging it up just the way that, Federer has done before him and everybody else. It's great to see the sport be able to replenish with its own talent and not have much of a drop-off in between.
Yeah, kind of the passing of the torch, right, to a certain extent. And now Alcaraz is, 3-0 versus Djokovic in major career finals. So if you're saying tennis is in a good spot, what other sports right now have their up-and-coming, this is what Tiger Woods was to golf in 97, right?
The NBA has it in Victor Wembanyama. That was the big thing that they've been trying to figure out. When LeBron James, the face of the league, even at 42 years old, when he leaves, who's it going to be?
Would you still put Luka in that emerging part where it's Luka, it's Wembanyama and Edwards is one of those guys that are kind of younger guys that you're like, all right, the rest of the league or the rest of the sport is going to rely on that. I think you always do you have that to a certain extent in the NFL right now? I don't know.
I think the 2024 quarterback class is giving us that, whether it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, 3 guys right there who had teams that were deep into the playoffs. That's a good sign.
That's interesting because I think I don't know if I believe that with Drake May and Bo Nix. Now, again, obviously, that gets stunted a little bit because of the injury that Bo Nix had, okay, and not being able to see him in the AFC Championship game. Hadn't to watch Jared Stidham. It was in the snow, all of that. We see the Patriots win. Drake May, I don't feel... And again, it's so early in his career, I don't know if I have this, oh my God, I can't wait to watch him play.
Do you think you might feel that after he wins an MVP?
Yeah.
He wins it?
Again, could have that feeling, and that's what's going to be on the line coming up next Sunday. Like, I felt that with Joe Burrow, but that's more of a personal thing because I saw the success he had in college, and then you took it to the next step. And it wasn't guys that had that wow factor right from the jump, like, oh, my God, I couldn't wait. Like, I could see that a little bit with Caleb Williams. Like, Caleb was one of these, high-dollar guys. You're like, man, I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the NFL. You pair him with Ben Johnson, you had a front-row seats to it. It was as exciting as it could be.
And I feel like the NFL does that just about every year, where we're never going to ask who's the face of the league in the NFL when that talent replenishes. But like men's tennis, like the NBA, like the NFL, I think that the major sports right now are in a good spot because there's so much young talent that is doing things, winning titles, winning championships at young ages, and I think that's a good thing for the longevity of the sport, regardless of which sport it is, to have that level of talent shining at a very young age.
You need a North Star, and even golf right now, it's not the sexiest of North Stars. Scotty Scheffler is that guy that everyone's like, hey, this is the next GOAT in the making. Alcaraz could be that. Scotty Scheffler is that. Wembanyama, we'll see if he develops into that. And Drake May can take that next step if all of a sudden he has this unbelievable showing coming up next week. A guy that we thought maybe what might be in one of those guys early in his career and was good, but the question was he ever going to get to that next level, was Paul George. Now, the news comes out a couple days ago, suspended 25 games for anti-drug violation. Here's what Shaq had to say on Inside the NBA, our current ESPN and NBA analyst.
It's good to have everybody ready to go, the full team, when you're going into the postseason. It's unfortunate that this happened. But I just want to say that, they give us a booklet on what to do and what not to do. They give us a booklet. And they also give you inside the booklet how long it takes to get rid of something. So, I don't want to elaborate what he was doing or what he was doing, but, stuff like this should not happen because they give you the booklet that said, don't take this, and this, the letter of the law. Do not take any of these things. And when you've been in the league this long, you know what it is. They test you 3 to 4 times a year. So, but this is definitely going to hurt him.
He says that it was an improper medication to combat mental health. That's what Paul George said in a statement to ESPN. So it's tricky. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, you can't really touch that because it's a private issue. It's not a PED. You know what I mean? Like if it was some sort of steroid or something that helps your performance on the court from a physical perspective. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Shaq is wrong. They're giving you ways to effectively beat the test. Like, make sure that it's out of your system by this point.
We're going to test you 4 times a year, and this is how long all of these other things take to get out of the system. Wink, wink, right? Like, the NBA doesn't want to get rid of their stars, and you could argue like, Paul George is still one of those stars. But the NBA is basically saying, we got to have this. It's in the collective bargaining agreement. Wink, wink. Here's how you get by it, basically. And, I mean, again, that's on Paul George.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate because things were starting to go in the right direction for the 76ers.
Yep.
Like, Embiid's playing. He's healthy. Paul George is averaging 16, 5, and 3 in 27 games this year. They're 6th in the Eastern Conference. Now he's not going to be able to come back until late March. That's a brutal blow for a team that cannot ever get out of its own way.
Or is it also a way to keep him healthy and for a stretch run? As crazy as that might sound, and develop other talent, as long as you end up making the playoffs, you'll have a chair, and you'll be a dangerous team if he comes back after that. All right, coming up, we got some of the best sound of the week ever. Tension in Broncos country and why Bill Belichick was not a first-ballot Hall of Famer. We got that next. Courtney Cronin, Peter Burns, best week ever on ESPN Radio.
The NFL on ESPN Radio.
New England 9-0 on the road.
Week to week, team to team.
Drake May, he's played in 3 playoff wins. That's as many as Lamar Jackson. It's 1 more than Dak Prescott.
The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 369-369 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 369-369. That's HIM to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The GLP-1 pill you've been waiting for is now on Ro. Yep, it's finally here. With the same clinically proven ingredient. Now in a pill. And now on Ro. It's the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. At the lowest price available. That's one daily GLP-1 pill for big results. Now on Ro. Go to ro.co/join to see if you qualify. RX only. Go to ro.co/safety for serious side effects and boxed warning associated with GLP-1s.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional working and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever on ESPN Radio, always presented by Progressive Insurance. You can hit us up, 888-SAY-ESPN is that phone number. Going to be talking to John Clayton in about 15 minutes. I'm sorry, not John Clayton. What am I? Cam. What did I mess up there?
John McClain. John
McClain, who is one of the legends, covered the Houston Texans for the longest time, Hall of Fame voter, and generally, literally maybe one of the nicest guys ever, is going to give us a little breakdown of, hey, he voted for Bill Belichick, first ballot Hall of Fame. Some people did not. So let's get into it with the biggest sound of the week ever.
Big Magic Johnson. What has he done? He's got
winners. I want people that want to win.
Not a game. We talking about
playoffs. I'm a man. I'm who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field.
Biggest sound from the week ever.
So, been going back and forth in this, Courtney, about first ballot Hall of Famers, who got in. Belichick obviously did not, which is wild. When I saw it, I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? 6 Super Bowl titles. So many people said, hey, he's in. There's 50 voters, correct? I want to make sure you're caught up on this. There's 50 voters total. You have to have at least 40 votes to get elected, correct?
Yes, 40 out of 50 is 80%. You need 80% of the vote to get in. Mm-hmm. He was 11 votes, or there were 11 people who didn't. There were 39 that voted for him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
All right, so you're not allowed to tell your vote, correct? Or you're not supposed to. Right, but a lot of people have come out once this was like, hey, bro, it's not me, because there started to be all this huge hunt about, hey, who didn't vote for Belichick in the first ballot Hall of Fame selection process. And I'm going to screw up the name from the Kansas City Star. It's
Vahe Gregorian.
Okay, so he was on Amber and Ian. He has come out now and takes us through the voting process, and this is his reasoning for not voting for Belichick as a first ballot guy.
The way it works out is you have 3 senior candidates, the coach candidate, and the contributor candidate, all under one umbrella. Under that, you're allowed to pick 3 of them. So in other words, any choice of a coach or contributor is one less choice of a senior candidate. I would say that if it were a straight up-down vote, as it turns out for me, on all of them, I would have voted yes, but certainly on Bill Belichick. But it wasn't just that. It was all these in one lump. And as I heard every presentation, I found myself really feeling like all 5 deserved to be in. And I think the bottom line for me was, I know what happens to the senior candidates if they don't get in. They go back into what voters have long called the abyss, where you're back there with another 50 or 60, at least, people who have either been all decade or have been stars of the past that didn't get in their time, but are certainly deserving. And my thought process was, I don't want to see that happen to these 3. I felt that was, to me, the most conscientious vote. I obviously recognize that Bill Belichick really is the most qualified of this group, but I also think his ascension to the Hall is imminent. Frankly, I didn't expect that he wouldn't get in this time. All voters, I think, were shocked just to see the result. None of us knew it until that ESPN report came out.
You can appreciate, even if you don't agree with it, the length that he went to explain his process. And not once in there did he bring up Spygate.
It didn't feel like an axe to grind, did it?
Yeah.
No.
It didn't feel like he had a grudge, which, of course, we had heard about. The only reason we know about this is because it was tied to one person. In Don Van Natta and Seth Wickersham's reporting, it sounded like Polian tried to, have a coup. Like, pitch a coup there, whatever the phrase is, to get other people on his wavelength that Bill shouldn't be in because he cheated. Mm-hmm. However, Vahe's explanation makes a lot of sense because of the process of trying to get these senior candidates in. So whether that's Robert Kraft, Ken Anderson, Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood, and Belichick, he omitted Robert Kraft in this and Bill Belichick. So nobody from that Patriots dynasty on his vote this year. So he voted for Anderson, Craig, and Greenwood, the 3 finalists that were nominated by the senior committee. And I think this is part of the problem with the Pro Football Hall of Fame of making people, it's so selective of a Hall of Fame that there are people who deserve to get in, but because they're on the ballot at a time that might not be favorable to their candidacy, they may never get in. Like, before Steve McMichael died, there was this huge push to get him in as a member of the 85 Bears defense, a Super Bowl winning team. He got in the last possible chance that he could. In his he died from his battle of ALS. He got in a year before that happened, but there was a chance
that he wasn't going to get in.
That he wasn't going to get in, and I think that's what Vahe's trying to talk to here about, like, it's unfair to the voters in a lot of respects that they're put in this position where you have to choose one over the other when somebody may never get a chance ever again. And then you don't want to be the person who invalidates somebody's career simply based on, like, the guys that you have to pick versus others.
I think that's one of the 10-plus votes that we know of, and I understand that rationale, and I still think the majority of those people who voted no aren't seeing it that way. They're seeing it more of, hey, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. No one doubts that. Mm-hmm. But if you go look at Spygate, and that was a scandal, that's the reason why he should pay his penance. Now, would that change had Belichick been Andy Reid with the media?
Yeah.
Had he changed? Had he been a little bit different? Possibly. Okay. More than likely. Would that have changed if he didn't have some? I'm not saying this is right or wrong. Would that have changed in some of these older members' mind that he wasn't dating some 24-year-old girl and the whole disaster of North Carolina football this last year? Would that have been part of it? Maybe. Okay. And again, this is part of it. Am I going to lose any sleep over it? No. The jacket color is going to be the same color. It's not like, hey, when they go up there for the Hall of Fame speeches, one guy's yellow is a little brighter because he's a first ballot. Actually, I kind of like that idea. I think they should do that. Like, I mean, there's a club, but there's a club inside the club.
Well, that's what being a first ballot Hall of Famer is.
Correct.
Like, it's the elite of the elite. And if Bill Belichick can't get in as one of the elite coaches, the elite of the elite people ever in the history of the game, then I find it hard to believe that any other coach ever in the history of the NFL will.
Listen to what Jimmy Johnson had to say on the Pat McAfee show about the omission.
First of all, I think this tarnishes everything in the Hall of Fame. All of the inductees, everybody in the Hall of Fame, just because of 10 or 11 or 12 ignorant, jealous who did not vote for him. I think it tarnishes everything about the Hall of Fame.
I don't disagree about it tarnishing. It's a big stain right now on the Hall of Fame, but I don't think everybody who didn't vote for him had an axe to grind. You heard a very eloquent response from the Kansas City Star columnist about why he looked at the those on the senior candidacy list and why he decided to put them in over Belichick. But the fact that there's politics at play here is not surprising. Like, these are humans. Every human has an agenda. Every human has things that they prioritize over something else. We shouldn't. I know that it's a shock, but it shouldn't be surprising based on who's putting these people in.
We'll talk to John McClain about the actual process. I'm fascinated by that. He'll be joining us in about 7 minutes. I was shocked at this. This is what Sean Payton, Broncos head coach, had to say about Bo Nix's ankle injury earlier in the week. Take a listen.
What was found, though, what was a condition that was like predisposed right at that, they always find a little bit more when they go in, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. So it wasn't, because when you look at the play, you're trying to evaluate it. He said, the doctor, operating surgeon, said that this was going to happen sooner than later.
So I hear that, and I go, all right, well, that's interesting information. Evidently, it was pretty interesting to his quarterback, whose ankle he's talking about, Bo Nix. Here's what Bo Nix had to say on a conference call talking about the injury and what Sean Payton had to say.
Nothing predisposed, nothing that was there originally. I might have gotten confused. Didn't have any predisposed issues. Man, my ankles were feeling really good. I don't think he really should share how many surgeries I've had in the past, to be honest with you, but because I don't, he doesn't really even know that. But I think it's going to be good. To get back, get to work, start from ground zero, work from the bottom up, get back to training, and nothing really that concerns me, nothing that scares me going forward, like I'm, injury prone or anything. This is one of those just inconvenient football plays.
Do these guys talk?
This is a bad look. This is a really bad look for Sean Payton and Bo Nix, because you've got the head coach coming out speaking on another player's injury in a way that makes it sound like, it was inevitable, this was going to happen. Bo Nix says, false, I don't have any ankle issues. Don't talk about my ankles that way. And then,
bro, don't be talking about my ankles, man. Don't be talking. Don't worry yourself, head coach, with how many surgeries I've had or may not have had. That's none of your business, although it kind of is his business as head coach, right?
This is uncomfortable. Hearing both of those back-to-back makes it sound even worse.
I love it.
We've seen the friction.
It's the most Sean Payton quote I've ever heard in my life.
Yikes.
Sean's like, listen, I know stuff about Bo Nix that Bo Nix never had happen to him yet. That's how smart I am around professional football. Might cost Sean Payton a first ballot Hall of Fame vote. You never know. We'll talk about that with John McClain coming up next. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever.
Coming up on the Monday edition of Unsportsmanlike with Chris Canty, Michelle Spellman, and me, Evan Cohen. We'll get you ready for Super Bowl week. Plus, we're less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline. I'll tell you.